Thank you. So, yes, I've been around for a long time. But technology and assistive technology is definitely my love. I was telling Steve that I've been a special education teacher, K-12. My specializations, I kept going back to school and going back to school. Learning disabilities, working with children with moderate severe disabilities, early childhood, and then I specialized in the use of technology for individuals with disabilities. That's what it was called at that time. And then the law came about, and we now have assistive technology as the term that we use every day. Along with assistive technology is also the concept of universal design for learning. Has anybody heard of that term before? I love it. And so a lot of the research and articles that I am writing now revolve around the technology, but also within the scope of universal design for learning. As Steve said, I am the director of the master's program at U of L for assistive technology. We have 2 tracks. We have one track which is called Teacher Leader, which going through that with the specialization in assistive technology, and it's been approved by Frankfurt as far as masters, rank 2, that kind of stuff. And then I also have another track that a lot of individuals, PT, OT, speech language, and also I've had a couple parents also go through a master's program in assistive technology. It is online. Both tracks are online. So anyway, it's been fun. I've been a director of this program for about 15 years. So the challenging thing about the program is the technology keeps evolving, as you all know. Big time, big time, big time. So I guess that's enough about me. It kind of gives you an idea about my background and some of the things that I am involved with or have done in the past. Okay, so you all have the handout. This was actually, I adapted this from the call center in Scotland. It is a great technology system in Scotland, and many of the things that they use, we use also. I mean, we're just kind of hand in hand. So if you were to Google call at Scotland, you'll find all sorts of other resources to that. But what I did do with this handout is fine-tuned it and updated it and included some of the things that I will be talking about today. But what I like about this handout is it goes kind of step by step of things to consider, options, solutions that you might look at, and it kind of goes around in a circle. I have so many things in my hand. There we go. Okay, so you start here, and then it ends at 11, so it kind of goes around and looking at identifying what we're looking at regarding the child's needs, and then thinking about different kinds of avenues to go or to look at and to try into trying. Okay? Let's see. So I'm going to start off first, and you might go, what? Why are you showing us this? This is a video about assistive technology. And that was 10 years ago, 2008. Pretty frightening, huh? There we go. Okay. So what did you think? Now do you understand why I wanted to start off with that?
Kind of.
Anytime that we go, when we have something that's new, there are always those doubters. When I first started in the business, especially in looking at using technology for individuals, and especially individuals with disabilities, some of the comments were, that child will never figure out how to use a mouse. It's just like, what are you talking about? Or this child has a reading disability and they doesn't know the alphabet, so they can't access the computer. They can't figure that out. Well, that's a bunch of nonsense, isn't it? We know all the tools that technology can afford us can be used by any individual with a disability. We just have to be creative and figure out how and what we're going to use with that individual. We need to align that technology with the individual's needs. So many times people will say, well, this child has a learning disability, so they need to use this, and that's all. No, 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 no. One size does not fit all. One type of assistive technology or one type of technology does not fit all. Looking at those individual needs and understanding what are the characteristics, where are the needs, and how are we going to interface those so that child can be successful and to learn is what we really need to be looking at. Let me give you another example. Anybody hear of the iPad? Okay. So when the iPad came out, and you know, being in special education, we have fads, right? This is the new thing, right? So that's what everybody needs to jump on the bandwagon. So when the iPad came out, oh, this is the tool, the only tool for children with autism. Everybody, I had parents calling me left and right. You know, I want you to come to the school meeting and tell them my child needs an iPad. And it's like, wait a minute. Let's first look at your child. What is he able to do? Where are his strengths? And then what are the things, the skills that he needs to work on? And it's not the iPad necessarily. I had some parents really in tears because they thought, you know, this was the miracle for their child. It doesn't work that way, definitely. Now, does the iPad have a place? Sure, sure. Do tablets have a place? Sure. Do speech generating devices that we call augmentative alternate communication have a place? Oh, you bet. And does low tech have a place? Most definitely. In fact, if you were to talk to some of my graduate students, they will say, oh, Dr. Bauder, she's the DIY, you know. She loves to look at something. I'll go to dollar stores and I'll look at something and I think, all right, so now how can I use this? How can I modify this in order to help a student do a certain task or work on a certain skill? I was in the dollar store the other day because in one of my classes they have to adapt a game. And so I had pool noodles, I had those foam, swimming pool, flutter kickboards. I had, all sorts of things. And the lady looked at me and I said, well, we're doing this for a class. I'm not just buying this for my pool because I don't have one at home. And she said, well, and I thought this was really very striking. She said, well, every summer we go down to the Caribbean. I think it's Haiti. And they don't have many resources whatsoever. So we get all the pool noodles that we can. And the airlines, now I think they expect them to come. But they had to figure out how they were going to put them on the airplane. And so they use those to adapt wheelchairs, because some of the wheelchairs that the kids are using in that country are not the best in the world. And so many kids get sores on their hands as they're trying to. So they cut up the pool noodles and they use those as a cushion. And it's a very cheap dollar. Pool noodle is huge. Dollar solution in order to make life better for that child or children that are using wheelchairs. And it was just so neat because here she is actually figuring out low assistive technology solution for those kids in the school down in Haiti. I just went, wow, this is great. I love it. So let's just kind of go around the room because I do want to hear from you as far as what your thoughts are. All right, so who's going to be the brave first person to tell me what they think assistive technology is? You know, I can wait out the best. Okay, there we go.
So I have a kiddo in 8th grade who's dyslexic, and since I have him now, he uses Learning Ally and Bookshare.
Great. Great resources. So you think of that. Yes. Very good. Those are great resources, especially Bookshare. That's an excellent answer because that's what it's all about. You hit the nail on the head. Summarize. Assistive technology can be anything that will help an individual, whether it's low tech or high tech, in order for them to be able to accomplish their accomplish what they want to do, to develop skills. So we're looking at maintaining, we're looking at increasing, and we're looking at being able to communicate in many different ways. So here's a harder one. Okay? So, think about this a minute. I want you to tell me what assistive technology you use today. Because everybody in this room has. I guarantee it 100%. Are you going, what? Yeah, you all have. Yeah. Yes, glasses. Okay, what else?
I have a student that has hearing aids and I use an amplifier.
Great, that's wonderful.
I use GPS to get here.
Ah, there you go. Exactly, GPS. And some of the things that are coming out from the printing house regarding GPS for individuals to get around their community for the blind are absolutely astounding. I can hardly wait. Kelly, you tell me, what assistive technology have you used? Yep, a printer. Very good. What else? A smartphone. Yeah, that's the first thing my students will tell me. Oh, I used a smartphone. Yeah. But I say to them, you are so tied into those smartphones. You know, that's their life, isn't it? So think about what you used in your home today. A microwave, very good. Coffee maker, there you go. Keurig, yeah. Hair straightener, exactly. What else? Oh, there you go. I love it. And you know, the other thing I like about smartphones is I have a hearing impairment, bilateral moderate hearing impairment. And I have a lot of trouble using the phone. So if I usually don't answer, so my sister now texts me. So that's assistive technology. But if people are calling me and they leave a voicemail, then there's a transcription system. I love it. It's wonderful. You know, so I don't have to worry about, it's not totally accurate, but it's good enough so that I at least get the message about what that person wants to tell me or wants me to call them back or something like that. So, all right. So, all of you have used assistive technology today. The one type of assistive tech, well, there's actually two types of assistive technology. That is not covered under IDEA. Does anybody know what those two are? Glasses is one. The federal law under IDEA will not, if you have a vision problem and it's just typical, farsightedness, nearsightedness, the school is not responsible for paying for that AT, because early on in the 1990s, the thought was so many people wear glasses that it's more of a population thing rather than a specific kind of AT device. Now, if I were visually impaired and needed something that's called a monocular, that's a specialized, single lens kind of magnifier, and that would be covered, but not just typical ordinary glasses. The other thing that's not covered under the law, under IDEA, is anything that is medically or surgically implanted. Anybody know a kind of device? Yes, cochlear implant, because that's medical. It may help an individual in the school, but it is far past what the normal expectations as far as school-related assistive technology. So those are the two things that would not be covered, and the schools would not be responsible for in paying, even if it's in an IEP. Okay? All right, so the point was, yes, we all use AT every day. We have glasses, contacts, screen enlargements, auditory volume, and then also we use email, text, what have you. We all do. So what's the difference then? So if we all use AT, why do we have this specialization in that we need to address in the schools? Because the type of AT that we are looking for is that kind of AT that will help that child or that adult, if you're in voc rehab, to be able to learn, to be able to communicate, to be able to maintain their skills, which is an important factor, okay? And to increase their knowledge base, okay? And so we're looking then at solutions specifically that address those needs within the school, but then also in the home too, okay? I'm a firm believer that school doesn't stop at the end of a school day. I still need supports. I still need my iPhone in order to be able to communicate with my sister, okay? And I'm not at school, but I need that device when I'm at home. And so do a lot of kids. So never be afraid of making sure that students have access to their AT at home, okay? One of the things that I like to say is we have what we call speech generating devices, or I call them AAC devices. And the point that I make is that is that person's voice, okay? So if that student can't bring home his device or her device, are you telling me that that child should not communicate at home? No, because language is always changing, and we need to be able to communicate with our family, our friends, and the community, what have you. So we need to take our voice wherever we go, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's the pool. Yeah, there are solutions for AAC in the pool. Not a pool noodle, though, but one of those flutter boards I can make that a low-tech AAC device just like that. Okay? All right. I better move on, otherwise I'm going to run out of time here. You get me going, and I just keep going. So, by the way, I tend to forget about time. So if you just need to, get up and go and, phone call or what have you, please feel free to do that. All right? All right, so we're looking at functional abilities or limitations. And I tell my students, assistive technology equals functional. Okay, that is what we're looking at. So we're looking at hearing, we're looking at cognition, we're looking at vision, we're looking at physical. Okay? And we're looking at environmental controls. But the one thing that gets lost in the discussion of assistive technology is service. Did you know that service is part of assistive technology? What do you know about that? You're nodding, so that's why I decided to choose you. Yeah. That's such a good point. That's such a good point. In fact, in the next slide, I have that point. I think that's great that you shared that with us, because it's not just, here's an iPad. Oh, do you want this, by the way? I'm looking for a new iPad. Is this the iPad Pro? Yeah. So what we're looking at is, you just don't plop it in front of the kid and say, okay, there you go. First of all, some of the students may not want to use that. Why? Why wouldn't they want to use an assistive technology device? Yes, the age-old problem of looking different. So when going back to service, you can be a service. OT can provide AT services. Speech can provide AAC services, which is AT, under the big umbrella. Therapy dogs, guided dogs. There are a lot of different, different types of services, including evaluation, purchasing, designing. This is the whole idea that I come from, is this, creating, selecting, designing, low-tech stuff. Coordinating, and then training the child and training the family. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay? And then training technical assistance from other professionals. Okay. So just very briefly, we're looking at ways of inclusion. We're looking at in and out on this. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. Learn the material in a way that they can understand and to eliminate barriers. Okay? So when we think of assistive technology, there's a continuum, and we've kind of already addressed that. We have the low-tech, the mid-tech, and the high-tech. The low-tech is, I'm going to show you some examples, but usually it costs under $10. It's the stuff that I like to get my hands on and try to work some magic. The mid-tech, we're looking at somewhere around $500. It's not as complex as high-tech. High-tech are computers. High-tech are various types of mobility devices. High-tech can be looking at Oh, let's see. There's so many different kinds. Any ideas? Anyone want to offer something? Huh? Yeah. Environmental control kind of situations. Yeah. Very good. Especially like what's coming up now. This is how technology is changing. So how many of you have heard of Google Home? How many use Google Home? Oh, very good. There's also the Nest. You know, we're talking, you know, for a full house, big house, we're talking about $1,000. But it provides access to that individual in so many ways. It's just absolutely incredible. You can open the door. We've got some systems that you say shower, and it will turn the shower on to a specific degree. You have, you know, lock the door. I can do that now. I have an alarm system, and so I typically forget to turn it on when I leave. So I have an app on my smartphone, and so I can just hit that app and say, please, alarm now, please. So that's all that kind of more high tech, and it will continue to evolve, and the price usually comes down as time goes on because other newer, better technology, well, we say better, but not necessarily. Technology is just on the horizon. That's all there is to it. So, you all use these, right? So, you all use assistive technology every day with your students. We've got pencil grips. We have Post-it notes. We have highlighters. This is a really kind of fun activity in reading using Post-it notes. And what we have here is they're to write their name on all the what they call sticky notes, and then place the sticky note next to the part of the story that it goes with. And then when you finish a book, turn in all sticky notes to the sticky note box. So we have, this teacher decided to use these kind of things. Wow, shocking. I love this part. I'm confused. It really is a way to get students more engaged in the text, in the reading, if they can align what they're thinking about, what they're reading, and trying to come up with different. Anybody use this kind of technique? It's kind of fun, isn't it? Low cost, too. One of the other kinds of low-tech things that I like, we talked about iPads. Well, here you can make an iPad stand just using duct tape. Now, if I had been thinking when I was younger and invested in duct tape and Velcro, I'd be a rich woman today on an island somewhere, you know, staying on the beach. But I didn't. But I use their products all the day. I love duct tape. I love PCV pipe. I love Post-it notes. So here are some mid-tech examples. We have different types of adapted keyboards. Some of them are color code, some of them are big keys, some of them are especially used for individuals with vision problems. White on black is very difficult as far as a contrast. If I have a difficulty with my vision, if I go to a black on yellow background, the contrast is much better for individuals to see. Did you know that? Cool, huh? So then we also have something that's called the Braille writer. The Braille writer is this. Now this is a special kind because it has what they call refreshable Braille. So what happens is when it reads, the Braille, the pen will come up and display Braille cells. So I know that's an A or that's B or whatever. And you can use this with a computer. You can use this with all sorts of different types of technology, and it's wonderful. It's refreshable because after I pass my finger over that part of the Braille text, it goes down. And I just keep going to the end of the line, and then I start over. And so it refreshes itself, and off we go again. Cool, huh? This is a magnifier. Now, these were very, very popular and still are, especially in the AT for individuals who are blind. But there's a free app. I cannot read directions on certain products. You know, when you get old, your vision kind of goes. And small print is just not my thing. I use my iPhone. I turn on that magnifier and I can get it up to 4 times, I think, the size of the text. So I can read small print very, very easily. I hate it when you get stuff and it has these little directions. And it's like, okay, now what did that say? Have you ever experienced that? Yeah. Get out your iPhone. Get the free magnifier app. You're set. These magnifiers can be pretty expensive, usually around, well, pretty is relative, around $100, $150 because it lights up. This is a low-tech AAC device to play a game. So this is programmed by a person's voice. So if I hit, it has a level thing. So when I hit it, it will come up with and say, you know, what the die. So that's a way for someone to express playing a game using this. And then this, how many of you have seen these? They're reading pens, OCR. Do you know what OCR means? Optical character recognition. And so on these pens, as a little scanner, it's the best way that I can describe it. And I just put that and go across the printed text, and it will read to me. Okay? Very portable, which is nice. They run between $150 to $200. There's a new one out that is so much better in recognition. I mean, it's about 90% accuracy in being able to scan the text. And the nice thing is it doesn't necessarily draw attention like some of the other types of devices that we might use. So some kids are more willing to use a reading pen. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. As long as, well, I think this new one will even scan different colored text. Generally, print text, you know, is black on white, right? So for sure that. But if I remember right, the guy was also saying, oh, this is so much better because, you know, if I have a contrast, it doesn't matter what the color of the text is. So for some magazines, you know, it's the new one is called CC Reader, I believe. Okay. Okay, let's continue on. Because I even haven't gotten to the fun stuff yet. Okay, then here's the high tech. This is called a CCTV, closed circuit television. It is, it's not mobile, but it's something that to have in the home or at an employment, you put whatever text is and it will read the whole paper. And it doesn't matter the color. You can have the contrast like yellow, black on yellow, and you can do some kind of fancy things with it. But it's a heavy thing. Now what they do have is portable CCTVs that you can take anywhere that will do the same thing. These are all AAC devices. Those are voices. And then we have wheelchairs. Those are all considered more high-tech stuff. So let's quickly talk about myths regarding AT. And what I wanted to do is focus more on working with individuals with learning disabilities and some of the myths regarding assistive technology that come along. So, one of the myths is AT is only for students with certain kind of disabilities. As I've already explained, we all use it. But any individual with a disability can profit from the use of assistive technology as long as it's matched and aligned with their needs. Okay? AT gives LD students an unfair advantage. Baloney. Baloney, baloney, baloney. What we're interested, and you will all agree to this, is we're looking at how we can best help that student to succeed, right? So if that student needs to use a recorder to answer the test questions, great. It's not an unfair advantage. It's giving that child a way to be able to demonstrate his learning. I'll give you a really short example. When I was a special ed consultant in Iowa, and this happened to be a teacher's son, and severe learning disability. And he, when I would put a pencil into his hands, he would press so hard that it would tear the paper. Okay? Now, he also, part of his learning disability was also not only writing, but also reading. So, one of the best ways, and the regular ed teachers just did not like this at all because he was cheating. And I said, no, he's giving you what he knows, only in a different way. At that time, the general ed teachers say, oh, he's just lazy, because they knew how smart he was. Because when you would talk to him, wow, he knew everything in the world almost, right? But he had no way of expressing what he knew through traditional methods. And so trying to work with those teachers and convince them that it's a matter of finding a way for him to show what he knows is the important thing. So it's not an unfair advantage at all. Okay, we talked about socially unacceptable, especially in the middle school and high school grades. Expensive can be, but what I often tell people is some of these devices you're going to get maybe once every 5 or 6 years. So if I would say to you, or I say to my students, you know, this device costs $500, and they're going, oh gosh, you know, that is just too expensive. I just couldn't. And I said, yes, but if it changed your world and you were able to function as everybody else, the cost is nothing. $500 over 5 years, we're hardly talking much money at all. Right? And in order to reach their academic potentials, LD students should use AT for everything. Why is that a myth? Anybody know? Yeah. Yep, that's true. So it's not needed. The other thing is we're going to start with a type of solution. As the student gets better, they no longer need that type of device in that situation. We might look at other types of AT, or we might not have to use it at all as some students progress through their learning. So it's not for everything all the time, but we need to definitely align with those areas that it is needed, and and it's constantly changing. What I recommend today, I need to monitor. I need to see how that student is progressing. Is it working? Now, you know, I come from special education, and I believe in database and progress monitoring and all those good things. I'm a true special education advocate in that regards. Because if I don't know how the child is progressing, I don't know if what we're teaching or the way that we are teaching is helping that student. So if the data is not looking good and he's using an iPad program and there's just not much gains there, I'm going to say, okay, let's step back. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what we need to change. Or let's try this solution instead and see how well that works. So you have to have that flexibility in the use of assistive technology. Okay. So some realities then. You will be surprised that many of the items are already in schools. I can't tell you the number of times I go to schools. Sometimes I'm asked to do assistive technology assessments. And I say, where is your equipment stored? Oh, it's in this closet, but we never use it. There's tons, not tons, but there's a lot of technology that could be used that is stored in closets because nobody knew how to use it. So we need to get that stuff out. We need to repurpose it. Simple may be better in all cases. I'm a firm believer. The simpler, the better in order to get the job done. That's kind of like my motto. Okay? Because if it's too complex, is that kid going to use it? Oh, no. Or is it too hard, or it's too heavy, or it's not very durable? You're doomed for failure. So when you look at solutions, think of the less complex and build up from that as it meets that individual's needs. We already talked about one size fits all. There is not a device or strategy that can fall under one size fits all. It also is part of the whole universal design for learning framework also. Okay, I already told you, duct tape, Velcro, DIY, my favorite words. Okay, then we talked about functionality and going back to, and I can't read your name from here, Maggie's comment. We should also think about how to motivate students and reinforce positive outcomes with assistive technology. Let's think of ways to engage them. Let's think of ways that they see using this type of device is a good thing, and they like to use it, and they like to show off using it to their friends. And I also give the AT to other students in the classroom. Say, here, you try it. What do you think? And so if you can desensitize having to use that device by sharing that with other kids in the class and go, oh yeah, cool, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Or teaming them up together using that device. It's a great strategy, especially for this thinking that it makes me look different kind of attitude. Okay, any questions so far?